especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him, so he never...
Some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for Clenbuterol.
And Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices.
Boxing insiders are raising red flags over Canelo Alvarez's physique ahead of his showdown with Terence Crawford. Observers are questioning his sudden muscle growth, pointing to past failed PED, performance-enhancing drug, tests as a cause for concern. David Benavidez has also stepped in, calling out Canelo for avoiding a fight with him despite claiming to be the best. Benavidez didn't hold back, highlighting that 5 members of Canelo's camp have tested positive in the past. He called the whole team dirty, including Canelo himself, which only intensifies suspicion surrounding the upcoming mega fight.
Greatest Mexican boxing fights of all time, in my opinion. Yeah. So I feel like I'm 100% confident in myself. If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me. Especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him, so he never got off
You think he's on steroids?
Of course. How does 5?
You saw De La Hoya
How do 5 people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids? Right. All those fucking dudes in that camp.
Yeah, I seen Eddie Reynoso on my fight, so we made a joke. He said like he came to watch me the fight and shit. And then they're like, "Oh, you think he's?" In my head, I'm like, "What do you think Eddie Reynoso's thinking about? So are we gonna fight David Benavidez after seeing this fight?" In his head, Eddie Reynoso's like, "Fuck no, we're not fighting him."
Of course. Honestly, I don't blame Canelo. It's fucked up because there's a lot of money.
It's not even about the money.
Yeah, but okay, 100 million, dude. You think you kidding me?
The first step when you're a fucking warrior, bro. The only thing you think about is I've never thought about money. I've been smart, I'm negotiating my shit, but it's always a prize, bro. It's always go out there and beat Canelo, bro. I'm a legend. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna live forever in boxing as a legend. That means way more to me than any type of money.
And I think that separates you too. When I admire that shit about you. I was like that. How much you do?
Yeah.
and not to just bypass him. Shout out to
shout out to
BX.
Eddie Reynoso's gym is once again under scrutiny, with allegations that the trainer may be supplying fighters with banned substances. Canelo Alvarez, Reynoso's star pupil, has already faced 2 PED-related controversies in the past. Critics note that several fighters from Reynoso's stable have also tested positive, casting a shadow over the gym's reputation. As Canelo prepares for his bout with Crawford, skeptics are questioning how he continues to build muscle so quickly at this stage of his career.
Pressed serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for Clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for Clenbuterol 2 times. You have Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. You know, at a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero has said, at a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not gonna get up if I was 210 now at 50 years old, I'm not. By 55 years old, I'm not. The only way I'm going to get up to 260 of muscle is if I'm juicing.
Experts and fans alike are puzzled by Canelo's dramatic physical transformation. Gaining significant muscle mass naturally in your 30s is extremely difficult, yet Canelo appears more muscular than ever. Given the context of past steroid allegations and the reputation of his training camp, many are beginning to doubt the legitimacy of his transformation. The whispers are growing louder. Is this simply elite conditioning or another PED-fueled evolution?
If for a 30-year-old, right, you remember, your body grows, men's body can grow in height and length up until you're to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length. In your mid-20s, you know, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30. So Canelo Alvarez is about to fight a guy that is going to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Joe Rogan's recent comments on Canelo Alvarez have reignited the PED debate across the combat sports world. As someone deeply involved in discussions around performance science, Rogan pointed out how unusual it is for someone in their 30s to bulk up so rapidly. He emphasized that natural muscle growth slows considerably with age, making Canelo's transformation scientifically improbable. For Rogan, this isn't just speculation, it's a red flag. And when someone with his reach and experience speaks, people tend to take notice.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices. But I'm a Triple G fan, so I'm a say that ahead of time. I just like Triple G.
There's a lot of money on the line, and if I could get away with it, I would do it as well.
Some tainted beefs.
I think, well, he definitely got busted once for something, but it could have been from tainted beef. We don't know. But it also could be that, we should probably leave them alone and let them do whatever they want to do. Do you want to see Manny Pacquiao fight or not? All right? I want to see him juiced up, fighting at 45 years of age, coming in with a full six-pack, lighting people on fire.
With the Canelo versus Crawford fight approaching, talk of steroid use is getting louder. Many fans and analysts say they wouldn't be surprised if Canelo was using banned substances. The logic? He has access to world-class facilities, elite doctors, and the best recovery tools money can buy. With that kind of infrastructure, critics argue, the temptation to cut corners is strong and the chances of getting caught are low. For some, the question isn't if he's using, but how long he's been able to avoid consequences.
What up, everybody? It's your boy MC from MTTV. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo Alvarez is on steroids right now as we speak and is going to be fully juiced with something that hasn't even hit the market yet. Think about it. He's pretty much a billionaire. He has access to everything.
Floyd Mayweather hasn't held back when it comes to Canelo Alvarez and performance-enhancing drugs. Floyd has openly stated that the boxing world turns a blind eye when it comes to Canelo. According to him, there's a double standard. Some fighters are heavily scrutinized, while others, like Canelo, are protected because of their commercial value. Mayweather argues that PED use isn't just unethical, it's dangerous, and it threatens the integrity of the sport. His message is clear: no one should be above the rules, no matter how big their name.
But what we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids. They don't talk about that. So we don't know. We really don't know all the fighters he beat. He could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
As the hype builds for Canelo versus Crawford, the steroid accusations haven't just come from experts. Fans from both sides are fueling the fire. Crawford supporters are suspicious of Canelo's size and power, while Canelo's fans question how Crawford's body is adapting to a higher weight class. The debates have become so heated that both camps agreed to undergo comprehensive drug testing leading up to the fight. But this isn't just about satisfying commissions, it's about restoring public trust. The mutual decision to submit to testing speaks volumes about the current skepticism surrounding boxing. Fans may be passionate, but they're also demanding transparency.
Canelo and Crawford are strictly and consistently doing random data testing in order to silence each other's fanbase and their critics ahead of their showdown this September. Now, despite this being a normal thing, the gravity of this fight brings in more attention to their test results, partly due to the fact that suspicion regarding both men have been up as of lately. namely Crawford's sudden bulk and jump to 168 and his close relationship with Snack and Victor Conti, and of course the recent PED scandals being associated with Team Canelo, as well as him once testing positive for Clenbuterol 7 years ago due to contaminated meat. With that said, both men have been doing random testing since June and will undergo strict and consistent random tests up until they finally meet next month. Now it's worth remembering that despite all the recent allegations for Canelo and Crawford, both fighters have been consistent.
Canelo Alvarez didn't always look like the powerhouse he is today. Early in his career, he fought more like a natural welterweight, quicker, more agile, and lighter on his feet. Over time, though, he's undergone a striking transformation. He's now overpowering bigger opponents with ease, and that evolution has fueled widespread speculation. Critics are questioning how he managed to bulk up so significantly, especially at his age and under the intense physical toll of boxing. While some attribute the change to top-tier training and nutrition, others remain unconvinced it's entirely natural.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been pitting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. At like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, the feeling of somebody a little bit bigger, and things like that. I know when you go up in weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavy and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now. But I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Nico Ali Walsh, rising prospect and grandson of the legendary Muhammad Ali, shared his thoughts on how Crawford is preparing for the size gap against Canelo. Walsh emphasized that Crawford isn't going into this fight blindly, he's training with larger sparring partners to simulate the strength and pressure Canelo brings. Walsh views this not just as smart, but as strategic. It's the kind of preparation that turns risk into opportunity. Crawford's camp knows what they're up against, and they're crafting their plan with precision. It's a testament to the calculated approach they're taking as they prepare for the toughest test of Crawford's career.
People with Canelo before Canelo's last fight, but then after Canelo's last fight, it seems like it's more 50-50 now. So everything is just the build up for that fight is just going to be absolutely magnetizing. Like that fight, it's garnered so much more buzz after Canelo's last fight, and Bud is Bud. He's one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. He is one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. So it's going to be a fight. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Have you sparred any of them?
I haven't sparred Bud yet. I haven't been in Canelo's camp. I've met Canelo a few times. I love Canelo's team. Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. He's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. But I have to be Team Bud because me and Bud are cool, and I have so much belief in Bud, and I know who he is as a fighter. He is one of the greats. So he can do anything he wants.
And being around both of them and seeing how they work and train and things like that, what makes both of them the fighters they are?
I've watched Bud, so for Bud in particular, he's calm in everything he does, and that kind of calm is scary to watch because it shows experience. You can see that he's been doing this for decades. You can see it with his shadow boxing. You can see it.
Veteran boxing journalist Dan Raphael gave insight into why Terence Crawford took this fight, and it's not about money. According to Raphael, this is about cementing a legacy. Crawford isn't chasing a paycheck, he's chasing history. Beating Canelo isn't just another win, it would elevate him into all-time great territory. But Raphael also acknowledges the magnitude of the challenge. Crawford will have to be flawless. Against someone like Canelo, one mistake can end the fight. This is a battle that demands elite ring IQ, technical sharpness, and physical resilience.
I think Terence Crawford is a marvelous boxer, arguably the best in the world, pound for pound. But can you hurt Canelo? If you can't hurt him, I have no doubt he can outbox him. My issue is, if you can't hurt him, what kind of a challenge can you truly pose? What do you say to that?
No, that's a great point. I mean, here's the thing. Canelo Alvarez has a historically great chin. Now, I go way back when he first came to the United States and started boxing, and he found himself on an HBO pay-per-view undercard years and years ago, fighting against the older brother of the great Miguel Cotto. His name was Jose Miguel Cotto, and he had gotten a ton of hype. He had signed with Golden Boy Promotions, and a lot of those of us in the media. And I had seen him a couple of times before that. This is my first time seeing him in person, really paying close attention. And he almost got knocked out in the first round. And I remember Stephen A., all of us looking around at Media Row going, what the heck is this all hype about? This man can't take a shot. He's going to get drilled. He was lucky that the fight was over, that the round was over in round one, or there might have been some much more trouble. Stephen A., that was like, 16, 17 years ago. I've never seen him wobbled, rocked, physically, visibly hurt since then. He has an all-time great chin going in the ring with tremendous punchers. Terence Crawford coming up 2 weight classes. Do any damage? Yeah, he's a slick boxer, and he's also a good puncher in the welterweight division, in the junior welterweight division, in the lightweight division. But even at junior middleweight, which is where Terence Crawford had his most recent fight back in August, when he moved up and he won a world title, he didn't blow the doors off. He fought a very tough, solid opponent named Israel Madrimov. He gave a good fight. It was very close. Madrimov's people seem to think he might have even been able to edge it out. But if you can't hurt an Israel Madrimov at 154, what the heck are you going to do with Canelo Alvarez, the sturdiest guy in the world, at 168? So that aspect of it is certainly a problem. You mentioned about Charlo. Charlo was there to get his check. I know one thing about Terence Crawford. He's not going to just come to turn up to get the check. He'll at least try. And Charlo, I don't think, really tried.
What truly sets Terence Crawford apart is his ability to dominate without relying on brute force. He breaks opponents down with precision, timing, and mental sharpness. Whether he fights orthodox or southpaw, Crawford controls the rhythm and forces his opponents to play his game. This adaptability is a nightmare for power-based fighters like Canelo. While Canelo may hold the advantage in size and strength, Crawford's footwork and control of distance can neutralize those threats. His likely game plan? Stay out of heavy exchanges, keep moving, and capitalize on Canelo's slower movement. Crawford's style isn't just clever, it's surgical, and that makes him unpredictable, which is exactly what Canelo struggles with most.
Weight bullies, it's somebody whose style is based around being the bigger guy, being the stronger guy. But Crawford is a very cerebral, very technical boxer, and I think that's why I'd never really considered this before. But also, I didn't actually realize until I sat down properly and thought about this, just how much weight Crawford has been piling on when he gets into the ring after the weigh-in. And look, these are not numbers that are out of the ordinary, but he's obviously cutting himself down so much in camp from whatever his walking around weight is. And it must be muscle that he's taking off. And perhaps that's why he's only fighting once a year, because there will be some fat, of course there will be, but the dude is not overweight. The dude still looks pretty ripped from what I've seen when he's not in training camp. However, there's not that many photos of him with his top off when he's not actually in training camp. So it's really hard to tell what his body composition is when he's walking around at these big weights. But the fact is, his fight night weight was 169 let's just call it 170 pounds, which is huge, absolutely huge for a 154 pounder. Especially, it's just shocked me that he's come up from 135 and now he's still putting on that much weight. He's rehydrating that much at 154. And indeed, to bring us even closer to the modern day, the thing that was posted, and again, this is the second time we've seen this, is why I'm kind of thinking there's a bit of a theme here with Crawford posting his weight when he's not actually in full training camp. On February the 9th, 2025, he posted an Instagram story and he showed himself weighing 186 pounds on a gym scale. Now, that's so much bigger than I imagined Crawford would be. I never thought this guy would walk around at 186 pounds, which for anyone who needs the conversion is just over 84 kilograms. And now look, it's not an unthinkable weight for someone, but for someone who has fought as low as Crawford has, who is generally as lean and as in shape as Crawford is, that's a lot of weight.
Marcus Brown, who has spent time in the gym with Crawford, dismissed any talk that Crawford might be intimidated by Canelo's power. Brown pointed out that Crawford regularly spars with much larger fighters, some with heavyweight builds, and consistently holds his own. According to Brown, Crawford's ability to stay composed and focused under pressure is unmatched. He doesn't panic, he executes. That mental discipline, combined with intense preparation, may be his most valuable asset when stepping into the ring against a bigger, stronger opponent. In Brown's view, Crawford's calm under fire is exactly what gives him a real shot at victory.
I'm going with Crawford. Typically fighters, they don't want to say who they want to go for because, they don't want to be biased. Yeah. And much respect to Canelo, but I'm going Bud.
Is there a particular reason why? Like, you're a guy that's moved up in weight, so you know exactly what it feels like to get hit by these bigger guys. That's something that's going to play in the back of his head, like,
of course.
You gotta watch out.
It is, but it's not. Because at the end of the day, it's not like he just been in there, got in there with somebody bigger than him. He's always probably been sparring with bigger guys, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's that boxing IQ, which, William Skull didn't put up no fight, but he showed somewhat of a blueprint to get this guy, in a space where he's confused. Yeah. And he can't touch the target that's in front of him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's all for today's video. Be sure to stay tuned for more coverage as we count down to the historic Canelo vs. Crawford showdown.